was another beautiful day on the island of Snow. And it was still Lady Hex's birthday. She was having a different party. There were more cakes, more balloons, and even another merry-go-round. And most exciting of all was the brass band, too. It was coming from the Lehman's Brothers to play at the party. To top of that came Christmas Day. Thomas and Stephanie, you two are to select the brass band, too. Thank you, sir, said Thomas. Right away, sir, said Stephanie. Warren, James, and Emily were upset. They wanted to select the brass band to themselves. The two Indians puffed across the island. And both in Atlantic Station. The brass band, too, climbed on board Thomas and Stephanie. And they raced away. But the Indians were so excited, they pulled away too soon. The tuba player, the conductor, and the famous stars were both left behind. The two Indians steamed out to Bakewood Station. And the brass band, too, was assembled on the platform. Suddenly, the band leader cried out, "Where's the tuba player?" he wailed. "We cannot play without him." No one knew where the tuba player was. "I'm sorry, sir," gasped Thomas. "We must have left him behind." "Yes," said Stephanie, "but we'll go back and fetch him." The two Indians raced back to Navy Station as fast as they can. But the tuba player, the conductor, and the famous artist weren't at Navy Station. They were waiting for Bertie the bus. Bertie pulled up beside the passengers. "Can you take us to the party?" they asked. "I'll take you as far as I can," said Bertie. The two Indians arrived at the station and couldn't see the tuba player anywhere. "The tuba player's lost," moaned Thomas to Stephanie. "And it's all my fault." Stephanie felt sorry for Thomas. "Don't worry, Thomas," he said. "It's not your fault. You just made a mistake, that's all. We'll find him." The two Indians raced from station to station. Must find them, they thought. Where could they be? Bertie had dropped the passengers off. "Bye-bye," he called cheerfully. "Thank you," said the passengers. Then they looked both ways to see no train coming. When it was safe to cross, they crossed the tracks. Then they looked both ways again to see no train coming. When they crossed the tracks, they found an old station that had not been used for a long time. When they reached the other side of the tracks, they waited for another ride. They didn't have to wait long. Just the old engine pulled up. "I can take you as far as the plow, miss," he puffed. "Thank you," said the passengers. They climbed on the juice coaches, and the tuba player practiced his tuba as they all tripped down the line. The two Indians raced faster and faster. Wherever was the tuba player? The two Indians raced right past the signal box. They didn't see Jim waiting or the passengers in his coaches. And they didn't hear the tuba player. Where could the tuba player be, Thomas moaned. "The tuba player's got to be around here somewhere," cried Stephanie. "We just have to keep looking." Duke took the passengers all the way to the next station by the window. "There you are, young men," he puffed. "Jerry will take you from here." The passengers thanked Duke and watched the carriages split up. Duke was uncoupled from the coaches and ran smoothly into a siding as Jerry took charge of the train, and all the passengers climbed I'm not supposed to be on this track, you miserable engine, he scolded. Just look what you've done to our branch line. Now we shall have to go to the works to be mended. Jim and Harvey arrived to put the engine back on track. How did you get into this mess? They boomed. We was looking for the tuba player, man, Thomas. Look and listen, Harvey said thoughtfully. If he's a tuba player, he won't be playing his tuba, added Jim. So the two idiots took their time, and they listened very carefully. Then they heard it. The sound of the tuba playing in the distance. Jerry was going cackling down the line. He was enjoying the tuba player's music. Thomas and Stephanie pulled up. They were pleased to see the tuba player. We've been looking for you everywhere, Pup Thomas. All over Soda, added Stephanie. After you safely on board, the two more engines clean up and make way as fast as they can. The two engines arrived at the party just in time. The band played beautifully. Lady Hat was very happy. It was the best birthday party ever.
Thomas the Tank Engine puffs along his branch line to Annie and Clarabelle. First they pass the water. Next they come to a big farm. Then they can see a bridge with a village nestled either side of it. This is a special place. Whenever children hear Thomas coming along, they stand on the bridge waiting until he is out of sight. One day, Thomas was running late. He had stopped the signal before the bridge to talk to some new children. Bertie, the green engine, was waiting too. Hurry up, Thomas, called Bertie when the signal dropped. If you're late, Sir Topham Hatt may get a new engine to replace you. He would never do that, thought Thomas, but he was worried. Next day, Thomas hurried along the line. Just ahead was the goods yard. There, on the platform, was an inspector waving a red flag. Next, Thomas saw some children. They were waving too. Something must be wrong, thought Thomas. This station is for goods, not passengers. Help, Thomas, help! We're glad to see you, called the children. Please, will you take us home? The station master explained to Thomas's driver that the school bus had broken down, and all the parents would be worried if the children were late. Thomas waited as the children walked down from the bridge. Then he took the children to the next station where Bertie was waiting to take them home. When Thomas finished his journey, he was very late. He was worried that Sir Topham Hatt my line properly if Henry is always late? He doesn't realize that Sir Topham Hatt depends on me. Thomas whistled impatiently. He wanted to leave, but he had to wait for Henry's passage. At last, Henry came. Where have you been, lazy bones? Oh dear, my system is out of order. No one understands my case. You don't know what I suffer. Rubbish, said Thomas. You're too slow. You need exercise. The conductor blew his whistle, and Thomas started so quickly that he left him behind. The conductor waved his red flag to stop Thomas, but Thomas was well on his way, steaming out of the station. Come along, puffed Thomas. But Clarabelle didn't want to come. I've lost my nice conductor. I've lost my nice conductor, she sobbed. Annie tried to tell Thomas what had happened. We haven't a conductor. We haven't a conductor. But he was hurrying and wouldn't listen. Annie and Clarabelle tried to put on their brakes, but they couldn't without the conductor. Where is our conductor? Where is our conductor? They cried. But Thomas didn't stop until they came to a signal. Bother that signal, said Thomas. What's the matter? I don't know, said his driver. The conductor will tell us in a minute. They waited and waited, but the conductor didn't come. Where's the conductor? Whistled Thomas. We've left him behind, sobbed Annie and Clarabelle together. Everyone looked. And there he was, running as fast as he could along the lot with his flags in one hand and his whistle in the other. He was very hot, so he had a drink, and told them that Thomas had left them behind. I'm very sorry, said Thomas. We all make mistakes, replied the conductor. Look, the signal is down. We can go. Let's make up for lost time. Annie and Clarabelle were so pleased to have their conductor again that they sang as fast as you like to Thomas all the way. They reached the end of the line quicker than ever before. It was a glorious summer day on the island of Sodor. Toby was collecting milk from the dairy. James was pulling passengers to Brendam Dock. And Thomas was taking some workmen to work. They were building a new station. Every day, Thomas had to take the workmen there and bring them home again. I can't wait for the grand opening, he told Annie and Clarabelle excitedly. There's going to be flags and a big band. On the way to the new station, there was a difficult bend in the track. Thomas didn't like it at all. He was worried about the bend. But his good friends, Annie and Clarabelle, were there to help him. Slow down, they sang out. Slow down and puff with care. So Thomas did slow down, and he puffed with care. Thank you, Thomas puffed to Annie and Clarabelle. I couldn't have done it without you. Thomas arrived safely at the station. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for him. Today, Annie and Clarabelle ought to go for their refit, he told Thomas. You must take them to the workshop straight away. But how will I take the workmen home? Asked Thomas. You can use ordinary coaches instead, said Sir Topham Hatt. Yes, sir, said Thomas, and he puffed away to the workshop. Thomas said goodbye to Annie and Clarabelle. He was sad. I don't know how I'll manage the difficult bend without you, he told his friends. The next day, Thomas puffed to the coach yard. belligerent, said Harvey, and a jolly good friend. And he